Welcome and well met to Words of Azem, the monthly Final Fantasy XIV fan podcast. We're a group of warriors of light from Lamia world on Primal Data Center here to chat the hour away. I'm Yusuf Polianas, veteran Black Mage, and with me I have our ever-fierce warrior, Kalira Italian.
Hello.
And the High Soaring Dragoons, Asaria Limoli.
Hello.
And Midori Toka.
Hello.
So, yesterday was the big 6.2 Part 2 live letter.
Yep.
We have a lot of stuff to talk about from that. It's gonna be fun. And of course, first of all, have you been up to any fun in the game in the past month?
I haven't played very much. I stopped on a couple times to do the elephant people dailies, but I'm still not done with that. I've just been busy with work starting back up and to playing other stuff. I'm in the game right now, though.
Yeah, I've been busy with other things. I haven't logged in like a month. I need to get on there so I get to do the summer event. But I'm not actually need to make. I should probably get on and make sure I'm actually ready for the new raids. I'm not actually sure where I'm at gear-wise for that.
I've done the summer quest, and I've done some dailies on the week, but haven't been heavily playing.
Yeah, I did the Fair Festival, and I've done some Crystalline Conflict, but that's about it in the past month.
Alright.
Okay, so, live letter. Well, start off with what we know of the next main scenario quest line. Buried Memory. We seem to be continuing the Void things. We started
we are definitely going to the Void.
Yeah. And we've been seeing some more characters join up in that plot. Apparently Sid and Nero is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. We're also going to be using the Crystal of Light that Heidelin gave us to reach Methian.
We also have Big Vritra, or Big Varshan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because there's no combat animations for child characters.
Yeah. So, but yeah, should we talk about the most interesting potential new character?
Yeah, the Reaper.
Yeah, the Reaper lady.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the theory about who she might be?
I think I did. I saw a theory.
So the one I saw was that she might be the Ardbird equivalent for the 13th.
Yeah. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
I think that sounds very potentially interesting.
Mm-hmm. If this plot line does continue on and lead into the next expansion, I'm thinking the poster job for the next expansion is probably Reaper.
Oh yeah, that could be really cool as a contrast to Paladin, which is kind of the most light, happy-go-lucky, great hero thing.
Yeah.
We also get to run into the first of the 4 fiends in the MSQ, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going into the dungeon, the place we saw good old Golbez last expansion, the Fell Court of Troya.
So the first one is Scarmiglione?
Scarmiglione, yeah.
Scarmiglione, I'm not good with the themes.
It took me a second to recognize him because they added things to which I like. I like that it's not just the exact design as FF4. It's more it's like the Crystal Tower where they actually updated everyone.
Yeah, so it is interesting. I honestly, it's been so long since I played 4. I don't remember anything about the fiends per se. So I'm not even certain what to expect from them. All I remember is that they exist.
Yeah, I recently played it before, and the fiends. I mean, they're there. They don't feel like they have that much. They're not very. They're not memorable if it wasn't for the fact that they are the 4 fiends again.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get some new interesting takes apart from just the designs here on them.
Yeah, from what I remember in Final Fantasy IV, most of them they basically appear for one boss fight, and that's about it.
Yeah. That's basically it. Like, I think like one of them is around a little bit longer.
I think Rubicante showed up a little bit more, but even then I don't remember exactly what he did.
So yeah, Scarmiglione, the fight we saw is a 4-man fight, so they're the dungeon boss.
Yeah.
Which raises some questions.
We also saw like Estinian and such fighting in the fight, so
the trial fight for them could be when they all form inside the Giant of Babel, like in FF4.
Yeah, I've got some. So the fight, the trial, they're keeping under wraps, and if it was just one of the fiends, I don't think they would do that.
I don't think so either. Yeah,
because they've already we heard the fiends last MSQ, and we see Scarmiglione in the trailer, so it's not like it would be a surprise for the trial to also be a fiend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the trial's going to be something else. It could be anything.
Yeah, and like it's possible that we've been misled this entire time, and the 4 fiends won't be used as the trial story, and instead will be an ongoing thing as we prepare ourselves for the void.
Yeah, they did say the trial is part of the main scenario quest, like the dungeon, though, so it is somehow connected to the MSQ. One thing I noticed when I watched the trailer again, I haven't checked the screenshots on the site to see if it shows more of this, but when Scarmiglione shows up, he's killing some other monster.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I'm just wondering if that's going to be involved in some way or just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting detail to include.
Yeah, in general, like it looks like they're really. Like, I'm kind of surprised how focused the MSQ has already kind of become.
Mm-hmm.
I was very much expecting the 6.x patches to be as kind of fluff.
Yeah.
It seems
I think
like
that's what most people expected.
Yeah.
So. Any other thoughts on the MSQ? Midori, Azaria?
I didn't have time to watch the trailer, so...
Okay. I mean, you could do that right now. With the sound off, at least.
I like how they used as the teaser for the main story quest what is obviously going to be island stuff.
Yes, that was funny.
Yeah.
So the female narrator is presumably that Reaper lady.
Yeah.
It's got to be, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Peggy 16.
Yeah. You mute yourself, Azaria. There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and what she says and stuff, it just sounds like Ardbert stuff. You know?
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
And she does kind of look like that one design we've seen for the female Warrior of Light character.
Yeah.
So.
Which would be really interesting too, because remember how Yoshi P was open to maybe changing the wall design for the next expansion with the new story?
Yeah.
That would be really interesting if they just go with that all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Just like we've been Ardbert until now,
yeah.
Visually.
Yeah.
And one other thing for the main story that we may want to keep in mind for FF4 is that everybody, I think, is thinking they're just going to pull from the Super Nintendo game. They may pull from the 3D remake and the After Years games as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about After Years, other than the girl twin. I can never remember which one it is, having a very unusual outfit.
Yeah, I never played After Years, and it seems like people generally aren't super thrilled with it. So
it's okay.
Yeah, that's the impression I always get. It's
fun.
Even when it wasn't available, nobody was really clamoring to have it available. It was like
it's very much
fine.
Let's make a sequel by doing the same thing kind of game.
Okay, yeah, so here's the Scarmaglione killing the monster. It looks like some other sort of void scent, so...
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we are going to
Could
be...
just be a you have failed me moment.
Yeah.
But...
Oh yeah, we're also going to run into Zenos' avatar.
Yes, yes. That's interesting. I mean, that's not unexpected because we saw it at the end of the last one.
Oh yeah, of course.
We're very curious to see what the plan for that is. Also, I really feel like more than possibly anything since Dragoon, if you haven't leveled Reaper or done their quests, you're going to be missing something out because...
Yeah.
Like, probably not quite as much as with Dragoon, because if you hadn't leveled Dragoon for Heaven's Word makes a lot less sense. So...
I think that's probably it for the main scenario.
I see us fighting a giant gerbil in the trailer.
Yeah, that's in the Criterion dungeons. That's the mount.
Okay, that's what
you can get that as a mount. It's very pink.
God, the mounts they showed. I didn't include it in my write-up. There were some really good mounts.
Yeah, the mount for the beast. Well, we'll get to the beast tribes in a minute.
Yeah. But I think what's going to be even more interesting, though, is the raid.
Yeah. So, we actually saw, 2 bosses? 3 bosses?
3 bosses.
3 bosses. Well,
it's unclear.
Yeah.
There's a plant lady and there's a tree lady, and they could be the same thing. I'm not sure.
I have a feeling that the tree and the plant lady, the other lady, are the same boss. I think they're probably the second boss, whoever they are. We know the first boss is the prototype carbuncle.
Yeah, which, oh my god, that design is wonderful.
Yeah, that's a real throwback for carbuncles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by how much you can tell it's a carbuncle.
Yeah, like, cause when they showed it, I was like, red thing sticking out of the forehead, a bit like lizard-like. It could be a carbuncle. And then someone was like, that's a proto-carbuncle.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, of course it is. Which I guess goes hand in hand with what we've seen in Pandemonium so far. I mean, we had the Proto-Phoenix as well, so...
Yeah. So, and like the whole thing about Elpis is just, like, half the creatures that we've encountered were created there, so...
Yeah.
It's not unexpected. I wonder if that means that the, So, that kind of implies that Arcanist Arcanima magic is, like, descended from the Ancients' creation magic in some severely watered-down ways.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll ever talk about that.
I want to know how the carbuncle got domesticated.
Yeah. It'd be nice if they would do something with Arcanists again. Like, not Scholars and Summoners, but Arcanists. I feel like that's the class with the most potential to actually do something interesting.
Yeah.
Not job, but class. Because really, neither Scholar or Summoner, I feel, properly follows up on it.
They really don't. Like, gameplay-wise, the new Summoner does, but...
Yeah.
Not story-wise.
But, like, Summoner is a whole Allegan thing, and is only vaguely related to Arcanists, and Scholars are closer, but they're also more detached gameplay-wise, so it just feels weird. I don't know. Minor nitpicks, it doesn't matter. But yeah, and then there's some ancient lady who's using the E8S Rhine Shiva model with the dragon head.
Yeah.
I bet I wonder if they were thinking, well, how can we reuse this skeleton somehow? Because it's very distinctive.
So good. They're so good at reusing skeletons in this game. Because, like, you notice it, but, like, not in a jarring way most of the time.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's something that all games do, so...
Of course, yeah.
But, yeah, it's just... we got a skeleton for a lady with a big snaky head coming off her shoulder. How do we use that again? Any thoughts, Azaria, Meadery?
So I think this one here, much like the first tier, seemed like it was obviously based on Castlevania. This one I think is based off the original Metroid in a way.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
That proto carbuncle definitely looks like something that you could have fought in like Dread or something.
Plant Lady as well here feels like an original Metroid boss.
Or Metroid Prime that had a big plant boss.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Zarya?
I was barely able to see. It kind of goes through a bunch of stuff really fast in the trailer, so I was kind of...
Yeah, there's some other pictures on the site.
Caught the carbuncle, which I actually saw the carbuncle picture last night. But, okay, I think that's the plant, one of the ones... actually, that might be MSQ, so... But, yeah, it looks... That's not the raid. But anyway. But, yeah, so actually the first thing I thought when I saw the tree was I was actually thinking of Titania. For some reason.
Oh, yeah.
You get giant trees and you get giant tree stuff in that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and then also like X-Death.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean I don't expect any of that to be involved, but
no,
just
giant. What about the bosses? But we seem to be getting La Habrea's face. It looks like.
Yes, that's La Habrea.
Yeah, and there's been discussions and debates about this because La Habrea's crystal is red. The one we picked up is blue.
Yeah, it's a different crystal. So
yeah,
I mean we know there's multiple of them because how we got into this was the Charlatans found one.
Yeah.
So, and I think it was red.
I don't actually remember now, but it might have been, yeah.
So
yeah, but it's
clearly not the one
Emmett
Selk made.
Yeah.
And then the gear, they don't show it in the trailer, but the gear is really impressive.
The gear is really cool.
Oh yeah, I saw a couple of pictures of that.
For the first time they're doing the actual gear itself, not just the weapon, having visual effects.
Not the first time, but it's been a while. They the elemental armor from Eureka had it a little bit, although it was more glowing panels. And then there was some crafted gear in 2.0 that had glowing on the shoulders.
Oh god, yeah.
And we haven't seen it since then. You don't see it much anymore, but every so often you'll see somebody with it.
I think I've gotten some Wolves Den gear from retainers that has some effects. Maybe that's something different.
No, I think it's the crafted gear.
Oh, okay.
That you've gotten. It has glowing shoulder effects. They haven't done anything with it since then. And it was pretty minor. This is much more elaborate.
Yeah, it's demonic effects with horns and scary faces and it's cool. It really makes me want to actually
the real question. The question is if the normal raid gear will have it or not, and that seems unclear for some reason.
Yeah,
it seems unclear. I doubt it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big worry that the glow may only be reserved for the Savage tier.
Yeah. So yeah, it's hard predicting what's going to happen is difficult. I've seen people say that La Habrea is going to be the final boss of this tier. Maybe, I don't know. I find that a little unlikely.
That seems too obvious. Usually the final boss is for a tier or for the whole raid period is something out of left field.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if we do fight him, we may not fight him till the second to last boss of the third tier. But I don't know. We'll just have to see. This is a hard raid series to predict.
It really is. Even just seems to see from the story in the trailer with Eric and them is you can't really draw anything from them.
Mm-hmm. Legacy updates. duty support for 2.4 through 3.0 dungeons.
Oh yeah, so I saw a friend post that oh my god, trusts in Heaven's Word. I'm going to die, and
Yeah.
I just replied with, so will one of the trusts.
Yeah. There was a funny amount of the vault in that trailer.
Yeah, apparently like they will only actually. The duty support only goes up to the vault.
Yes, it ends at the vault.
So, yeah, so no Gubal and no whatever the Azem one is called.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess that will be the next patch.
Probably, yeah. They didn't show anything about the revamped Thorn March, so we know nothing about that.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that is.
I would say it could be more like the Extreme, but the Extreme isn't any better in terms of being a workable fight. So, who knows? I'm not expecting a lot out of it, but it'd be worth trying once.
Yeah.
The new Steps of Faith, though, looks really cool.
Oh yeah, it really does. And it annoys me. Once again, it's like, oh, they made a cool solo duty. That means I can't play it without using New Game Plus.
Yeah, at least I think you can start at the beginning of 2.4.
Yeah, you can.
So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
You can just do a bunch of skipping.
Yes.
You can unsync like all of the duties up until that point.
Yeah. So and that's not too bad.
I think it's still gonna be like at least half an hour of stuff before you can get to it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's like one scene of a bunch of Ishgard knights doing a what's it called? The Wings of Light defensive move.
The super giant Wings of Light.
Yeah.
It is really cool seeing them like actually
Passage of Arms. That's right. Passage of Arms.
It is really cool to see how much effort and resources they've been putting into this stuff now. Because that's like the reason I thought it wasn't going to happen for the longest time. Because like it's just too much work. But they're really just like fixing up all the little things that make it tricky to get people to actually catch up.
Well, they do want to continue to get the game to grow, and one of the things that happens to old MMOs that sort of start to die is they just focus on new content and let the old content stay old, and
or they just get rid of it entirely.
That's not going to get new players in because you want to have the start of the game actually be good, but not overwhelm people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they've been getting pretty good at that. So there's still some rough edges, but I think it's gotten a lot better over the last.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff they just kind of can't fix without completely remaking Reborn.
Yeah.
Like, because like in the end, the game was still made out of old discarded resources and trying to make a game in 2 years' time. But I think what they've done is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
they've really been getting rid of all the most of the pain points for new players.
Yeah, the actual gameplay experience is much better. The story from like 1 to 30 is still going to be kind of generic because, well, they really can't correct that.
I also feel like that's like, I don't think that's not necessarily a bad thing because that is still like the learning process of the game.
Yeah.
If they started to get into all the interesting stuff with the Asians and all the politics instantly, it would like Azara said, it would probably just overwhelm the newcomer.
Yeah.
And then we just miss the details.
It actually kind of pays off because it sort of sets you up as just being an actual ordinary adventure, not somebody special.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff ends up coming up again down the road at various times.
Yeah, they do a really good job of not just dropping things and bringing them back, even if it's optional content. Almost
still waiting for the follow-up to the fucking Niblet Obdilord fight from Tactics Ogre.
Yeah.
When does that happen?
Well, when they finally start caring about Glamour again.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Gilmore?
Glamour, yeah,
the underground ruins in
Gridania, Palace of the Dead. I saw something go by on Twitter, and I didn't have a chance to investigate it, but it made me think: are there any female Duskwhite NPCs that are named?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I mean, there's only a few Duskwhites NPCs to begin with, but yeah, I don't think there's any female Duskwhite NPCs. At least, not actual, not just generic, doesn't have a name, just standing there.
Yeah.
There might be a Lancer somewhere in Gridania who uses a female Duskwhite model, but I don't think there's any that's named. Just something I saw on Twitter, and I've been thinking about it. I was like, huh. All right. Anything else about updates?
No, I think that's about it. They didn't really show what any other dungeon looked like Keeper of the Lake or the others.
I'm not expecting any major changes because around this point is when they've gotten a pretty good system for the dungeons. They pretty much knew what they wanted to do with them. So I would say
I'm mainly interested in seeing how the NPCs, which ones come with you and how they.
Yeah.
Well, we did see in the trailer we did see a trust that looked like it had Moonbreda in it.
Yeah, that'd be
oh yeah.
That would have been Snowcloak.
Yeah.
But yeah, Snowcloak was the first actual post 2.0 MSQ dungeon. Because they didn't do them for the first few patches. All the dungeons weren't related to the MSQ. So, but Snowcloak and Keeper of the Lake are kind of that's the form they've taken since then.
Wonderful what kind of boss adjustments we might see because of trust being added. I know there's one boss specifically I'd like to see an adjustment to, though it has nothing to do with running content normally, just because the first boss...
Is it the second boss of Snowcloak?
No, I was thinking of the first boss of Steel Vigil, which is absolutely horrendous.
The second boss of Steel Vigil Hard, the turtle with the cannons? Yeah,
no. Oh yeah, that one they need that one definitely needs
so much.
a rework, but I think we're past the point where that would have happened. So no, the Steel Vigil one, the optional one in Heavensward is the one that I want.
The Dusk Vigil, yeah.
Or Dusk Vigil, yeah. It's the Mammoth I want to see reworked. Not because it's a problem in normal combat, but it is. I hate doing it whenever I was running it unsynced.
Oh, it's terrible. But yeah, Dusk Vigil isn't MSQ, so it's not getting trusts.
Yeah. So,
well,
though they did go back and do the ones for AR now, didn't they?
They did a couple. They adjusted a few things.
Yeah.
The optional ones, but yeah.
For Mammoth Unsynced as Dragoon, I find what you have to do is you have to pop all of your cooldowns before you start the fight and just go in with all heavy hitting damage so you can kill it before it does the first stun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just avoid doing Dusk Vigil.
Well, I had to do it recently because I was finishing up the first step of the Anima book, or of the Anima weapons for all my classes, that you have to run it. So I saw that a lot.
Yeah, I got a few more of those I got to do, so I'll be seeing it again. I think that I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Anyway, we're getting to the point where most DPS jobs should be able to burst it immediately, especially if you can build up some resources on the packs going in. You just got to think a little bit.
Yeah, it's the problem is if you're doing those things like what I was doing, is where I'm playing a job I'm not familiar with. Plus, you're gimping yourself a bit with the weapon.
Oh, yes, you got to use the relic.
Well, I guess you don't have to equip that until the very end. So kind of like with the.
But do you have any idea how many times I have run a dungeon for those and forgot to equip the weapon at the end?
That's why I usually. That's why I don't like to do that, because I don't want to do that. I did that once or twice for the Aerie because getting past the DPS check with the weapon was a problem. But
that's very hard. That one's very hard. But yeah, no, I once had to run a dungeon 3 times in a row because I forgot twice in a row. wasn't Dusk Vigil. I think it was one of the easier ones, but it was annoying. All right, so I had to leave during the live letter around when they started talking about Island Sanctuary.
Me too.
So I didn't see a lot of this stuff, and I just have not had a chance to watch the replay because there was the Azure Lane stream last night, and that took up a huge amount of time.
Yeah, I ended up going back to when I came back home, and oh my god, it looks amazing.
It does, what I've looked at is, it seems really, way more than I think anybody expected.
Yeah, it's like they just put another game inside the game. I was ready for, the things I was prepared for was you can bring out your minions, you can craft, you can gather, and, there'll be wildlife. Okay, you can farm stuff. But no, you can terraform.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting there to be 40 minions you could have out. That's crazy. That's there will be an area where you can have out maybe 3 or 4 minions wander around this little area. No, you can just have them out and they just wander everywhere. It's 40 of them. That's a lot of minions.
You can build giant structures, and you don't even need to have crafter and gatherer leveled because it's all a unique XP curve for being on the island with a unique currency and objectives and everything. So, yeah, I'm super excited for this. This is when they showed that piece of concept art, this is exactly what I wanted, and I didn't think we would get it. And it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting the effort, but it makes sense because I get the feeling they're probably reusing stuff from the original Exploration Zone, Instance Apartments, and they probably want to use this to quell people that can't get a house, so they've got something to customize visually.
Yeah, but you can't use any actual housing furnishing, which is a little annoying. They should let you put exterior furnishings out, but I don't know.
But the system it gives you something
might just
to
be entirely different.
It gives you something to customize.
So, I actually think that this is going to be more useful than most actual exterior housing stuff, because it looks like you actually get stuff from it, and it's not just for making Favniran onions.
Yeah, I also think it's really bold of them to spend this much effort on what is essentially single player content. You can invite your friends over to your island apparently, but overall it's your island, it's your instance. It's your own little leveling thing and your own little crafting and selling thing. It's the kind of thing that you wouldn't see get approved for an MMORPG most of the time.
Yes, yeah, it's very much that.
But again, it kind of makes sense given that for a lot of people, Glamour is the end game.
Yeah, that is true.
I didn't even see the whole capture wildlife and rename them. I didn't even see that had been.
Yeah.
That's no one thought that was going to happen. No one even had that on their list.
Yeah, you can capture them, rename them, make them into your farm animals, and it's just Square Enix has a farming RPG coming out this year.
Yeah, they do.
but I don't see why, because they clearly have this already.
Yep.
So yeah, I know I'm really excited for that. That is possibly the thing I'm the most excited for this patch. I am so in love with it. I also like that. I was a bit disappointed at first because I was just reading our Discord chat when I was out, and I thought they once again did the thing where oh, here's some special gear you get on the island, and the girls get shorts and boys get long pants. But apparently it's actually separate items.
Yeah, there's 2 separate items. Yeah,
that's cool. I like that.
So
unlike the Moonfair Festival.
Yeah, that was disappointing. That it's one set of gear but 2 visuals.
Did we really need another black bikini bottom? We already have 3.
Yeah.
Now, who do you think is going to be the Tom Nook on the island?
Well, it seems there's little.
Isn't it little mammoth things? The whole thing is run by the mammoths.
Yeah, they were called something. Oh god, I took down the page. Hold on. Okay, yeah, here. So they referred to this is translated, but they referred to the Mammoths as the little guys.
Yeah, I saw that. They were called the little guys.
I love that. Like, yeah, and they will like build more plots that you can build on as you upgrade your island, basically. And you have to like get them better tools and stuff. Okay, oh yeah, this is something I forgot actually. Buildings, like some buildings are constructed instantly, but others will have like a lengthy timer. So like, like the kind of thing like you do this thing and then you like leave your island and play normally or log off for a while and then you have to come back. And I like again, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm used to that kind of thing from other games I've played that have anything like that. So.
Well, we also have the ship exploration in free companies. That also takes time.
Yeah. So there will probably be some sort of like retainer type thing where stuff is generated over time, and you go.
I hope you can place like a retainer on the island.
I didn't mention that, but maybe we can bug them about that and they can add that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like unique objectives, unique XP, it's its whole thing. It's its whole, like you said, it's a whole separate game stuck into this game. Again. Yeah. Continuations. Tataru's Grand Endeavor. I think the Sky Pirates are involved with that.
Yeah.
So KC is coming back.
Yeah. It's they didn't really like. I still don't know if like this quest line will get us anything or if it's just a fun story. I mean, I'm happy.
We'll probably get at least an emote out of the end of it.
Oh yeah.
Maybe an outfit because that's Tataru's thing as well.
Yeah, some sort of outfit, maybe an emote. Who knows?
I hope
nothing major.
I hope the last patch has an EX trial on it. It's just so all the people who don't like to do all the side content have to suddenly go do all of it to get to access the 6.55 EX.
Yeah. Omicron Tribal Quest. Looks pretty neat. Good. Seems to involve more than just the Omicrons. Seems to involve everybody in Ultima Thule.
Yeah, and like it has like its own little unique instance area you go into, and
the
cool.
Pixies.
Yeah.
Somebody noticed that some of the Civil War people from the second area of the Dead Ends were there.
Yeah.
The Freedom Fighters and the whatevers. So some of them were there too. So we could, who knows what we could see? We could see anything.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun seeing that cafe just expand.
And the space jellyfish mount.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of wild that that's just attached to a beast tribe when it's like one of the neatest looking mounts in the game now.
Yeah. It kind of makes the level checker look a little less impressive.
Yeah. Sephiroth Unreal. I'm not going to do Sephiroth Unreal. Sephiroth.
No.
Huge pain.
Yeah.
I don't care. More Glamour dresser slots. Not a big deal for me because I don't keep all that much, but I know some of you guys do.
Yeah. Mine has been full for a year.
I did forget that they'd added more plates, though, so that's good. I need to work on that. Speaking of plates, they're updating the Adventurer plates, so you're going to have to redo all your Adventurer plates.
Except the one that's tied to your instant portrait already. That will somehow will get carried over.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to need to be remade anyway. But yeah, they've changing the whole system, so whatever you're used to, get unused to it. I'm not going to mess with portraits until they do this because I don't want to have to redo anything.
Okay. I haven't messed with mine since like the day that came out, so.
Yeah. I think
I mess with mine every time I get a new outfit.
From what they described last time, I think it'll make more sense this going forward because it was a little backwards before.
Yeah.
Mandible weapons. Gonna involve the Loporite somehow.
Yeah, the Loporites. There's several Hildebrands. on the moon.
On the moon.
It's
anyway.
Yeah, we don't know anything in context about this yet.
Yeah.
So
it'll somehow involve Geralt. I'm sure it will probably involve he'll probably end up on the moon somehow.
I mean,
and so
poor bastard.
The number of places he is at the same time in this game will increase.
That means we get.
I'm pretty sure Geralt. I'm pretty sure he's the NPC you can be guaranteed to find in the most places at the same time.
Yeah, because like not even what's her name, Rowena.
Yeah.
Not even Rowena appears as much.
Yeah, they stopped putting her in the in-game hubs. I thought they were gonna keep doing that, but they stopped after Heavenwards, which is probably good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's everywhere. So that'll be interesting. I don't think any predictions can be made about that.
Nope, not yet. And that won't be out until 6.25. So
yeah, a little while for that. Any other thoughts on those? Go on.
Then there's the variant dungeons.
Yes.
The Sildine Subterrane.
So like we knew that I think they announced that name last time.
I think so.
We knew it was involved in Ul'dah stuff, but I was not expecting the certain NPC. How's that for one of those extremely Japanese phrases?
Yeah.
That's not a phrase you ever using the word certain that way is never done in any native English material ever. That's exclusively a Japanese translation thing. It's very funny.
What did they do?
It's not wrong, but it's just not done in native English, and it's very funny that it's become such a thing for translated Japanese.
Oh.
Anyway, that's just a thought I have had because I have seen it a few times recently, and it's like the word doesn't. You don't do that.
So for a certain are we talking a certain magical index type certain?
Yeah. So if you were to actually phrase that in native speaker English, a certain magical index would be more you probably would just say the magical index.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The certain part is this Japanese kind of like a little emphasis word to make you know that it's a little special. It's supposed to be like a winky, the one kind of thing, and that's not really done in English that way. So when they were talking about this, they were saying how a certain NPC would be joining you, wink wink, and turns out that NPC is Nanamo, right? And it's like that because it's not. It's she's obviously undercover again, right?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that shows up in Japanese translation, but not in native English materials.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, I see it quite a bit, but
yeah, it's it's Tuaru. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's this stock Japanese phrase that just translates to certain, but it's not how English uses it. Anyway, we're off topic. I wasn't expecting Nanamo.
No, me neither.
I was expecting Rawbon's kid.
Pippin.
Yeah, I was expecting Pippin. I was not expecting Nanamo. But I was expecting a Lalafell, but not that one.
It's exciting. She hasn't really gotten a chance to be part of the action before, so.
Yeah. Did I see that she's classed as a black mage?
Maybe I have the page up, so let me double check.
I thought I saw something that had her portrait and it said black mage, right? I couldn't tell if it was her or if it was the player was a black mage and it just was also showing her. But yeah, I mean that makes sense. I can see that.
Well, it might be that I'm looking at the screenshot here, and it's like Special Dungeon Finder, level 90 Black Mage, so it could just be referring to Yoshida.
Yeah, it's like I wasn't certain, but
yeah,
it was a confusing thing to look at. I haven't had a chance to look again. But yeah, so 1 to 4 players. It'll be interesting to see how this plays solo. But it looks like you can just go in with whatever rolls and just take actions to supplement. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So we'll need to do that pretty early on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's also the bridging story aspect they're talking about.
Yeah, so you want to run it a bunch of times apparently. So.
Yeah.
Are they also going to Palace of the Dead potentially give you items that you can use during the instance, like Phoenix Downs or healing pots?
They didn't mention that, but there's like these 5 actions, like a special raise, a special heal, a special attack, a couple tanking actions that various roles can take. Like if you're a healer, you can take the attack action and the tanking actions. If you're a DPS, you can take the heal and tank actions. So if you don't have one of those roles, you can cover for it. At least in the normal. I'm not actually certain if those actions are available in the Criterion versions.
I think they said that...
I know the raise is not available in Savage version, and that you can't combat raise in the hard.
Criterion looks like it's standard party rolls.
Yes,
for both normal
standard party rolls and Savage. Yeah.
Normal methods of resurrection are prohibited, but you can use variant raise 2 a number of times.
Okay.
That's what it says here, at least.
So
okay, yeah, basically, I guess you do get those actions.
So it's basically like Criterion's like Rathalos.
Yes. Yeah, similar. So I feel like that we might see the actions expand in later versions, depending on how it goes.
Yeah. This was where we have the adorable boss.
Yes, yeah, this is where that rat boss is.
Little pink crown on its head.
And that is available as a reward, as a mount. There's a video on the FF14 Twitter of the mount in action, if you want to find that. Well, I don't think we know anything else about rewards. Did they say anything about that later on?
No, not really.
Savage has got to reward something to make people want to do it. Because people say that they'll do that kind of stuff just for the sake of doing it, but that's not true. We know that's not true.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be something for doing Savage, but we have no idea what. Probably not gear. I cannot imagine them rewarding relevant gear from something like this.
No, I don't think so either.
They could do here the stuff that uncaps the tome gear. Maybe longer to grind than the raid, but that could be something.
And I don't know, because the people who would do this, they would be capable of kind of like farming Savage anyway. Like, if you're like the impression I got is that, given that they said the final boss is like doing a 4/4 Savage, which that seems really like a big statement to make for a 4-man boss. Right? Would you agree that saying a 4-man boss as hard as a 4th floor Savage is quite the statement to make?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes they seem to miss the mark when they're kind of trying to express how difficult things are. So
at the very least, it's going to be hard, right? And it's got... So that implies that if you're doing this, you are clearing Savage, and you have Savage gear. So they probably don't need the upgrade items as much. Like, that's just not... Like, that's... Like, if they rewarded that for variant dungeons for casual players, that would be amazing. But I don't think they will. But that would be a good carrot, but I don't think it would work for Savage players. I don't know what they can give them that they would want.
Yeah.
Usually it tends to be things like Glamour, so...
Yeah, we are also expecting a deep dungeon. Probably in 6.3. Because they said there would be a deep dungeon in Endwalker. So I would not expect it to be like a catch-up weapon like the deep dungeons have, because the deep dungeon will have that. So I don't know. I mean, there will certainly be some sort of glamour. I could imagine them putting in some hairstyles, but just like, what is Savage going to give to get people to do Savage, other than the fact that it is hard?
Because they're like the way they're making it harder with interesting too. Like Savage doesn't have any attack indicators at all.
Yeah. So, like, not even no mob attack indicators, no nothing. If you wipe, the whole thing resets. So, like, that's a lot. Like, that's a big... Like, that alone is going to make it a tougher thing to do than even, like, progressing Savage. Because, like, in Savage, you wipe, even at the end, you got maybe, like, a 9 or 10 minute fight ahead of you. But this could be... We don't know how long these are, but if they're standard dungeon length, they could be up to, like, 20 minutes to get to the final boss.
Yeah.
Well, probably 30, because I'd imagine you're going to single pull. You're not going to do a full pull at the start.
Yeah, and you've got to kill all the mobs. They did say that you got to kill all the mobs. You can't be skipping mobs.
And I think
kill
typically
everything to progress.
And typically 20-minute dungeon runs means you are probably in synced gear and you are really familiar with the dungeon and knowing how to do everything quickly.
I mean, like, right now, if you do, say, like I just did one today, because if you do Smileton right now, you can clear Smileton in 13 minutes with just a random group, because, like, we're at the end of Smileton being at all relevant.
Yeah.
So we're super level. This is capped at hold on.
High level 575.
Okay, so that you can't outgear that at all. That's lower than what we have now. That's entry. That's like in-game entry level. That's like.
Wait, no, that's minimum. 635.
Okay, so it's capped at 635. Okay, so it's just gonna depend on how it's scaled then. Like, how hard is it going to be when you go in at eye level 600 compared to 635?
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't really know. So it's probably going to do something similar to Savage, where it gets easier the more gear you have, but it's still going to be challenging when you get towards the end. All right. But one of the big things here is you've got to do the whole thing in one shot. All right. Even if the bosses are shorter and stuff, in the Savage version, you've still got to go in and you got to clear the whole thing all in one go. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what it ends up being like.
It'll be interesting.
I'm just kind of scrolling the preview video here, and yeah, like, it looks like getting to the first boss. Admittedly, like, this is one single player, and Yoshi is like showing piece by piece. But getting to the first boss takes there should be like 9 minutes.
Okay.
In the video, so.
It'll be in.
And like that, and that's the variant version, and that scales based on players. So you can probably expect that probably 7 to 9 minutes is what's expected to get to the first boss in the variant version. So I would expect the Criterion version is probably the same idea. That's probably what they're looking for. And so who knows?
Is it also just going to be the standard 3 bosses, or are they going to maybe cut it down to 2, or will there be more depending?
So what I understood was that the variant version, you only might fight 2 bosses, but they'll be different depending on what route you take. But the Criterion version is 3 bosses, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the Criterion version doesn't have variation. It's the same thing every time. Only the variant version varies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to see how it works. I don't think anything short of just trying it out is gonna make this clearer.
The variant dungeons will also have the Bastia style, like lore book. You unlock things in.
Yeah, they got lore books and they got the lore stuff. So they'll probably start adding that to more content as they go along, because people really like that.
I imagine the Deep Dungeon will probably have something like that too.
It's kind of something actually I wish they would retrofit back into some of the normal dungeons, because like the Gooball Library, there's a bunch of side books that I think a lot of people maybe just skip, but if they did it like Bozja, people might read it.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that like when they gave us the journal in the last patch, that would like contain a bunch of this stuff from the past expansions, but that's seemingly not what they were doing with it. And that's about it for like new, like the big new content.
Yeah.
Patches coming out on August 23rd. I don't think we actually mentioned that.
Yeah, 23rd.
Yeah.
Which is expected. As soon as we knew the date of the letter, we knew what day the patch was going to be. So, yeah, and then I don't know. Like, this expansion is the hardest one to predict. Like, there's just no way of knowing what's going to happen after this. So, hopefully after this MSQ, we'll have a little bit more idea of just like what the overall arc is. Like, there's some vision of what could possibly happen. Because even right now, we know we're going to the Void with Varshan looking for Azdaja.
Yeah.
But there's been no sign that we have found Azdaja, because I'm pretty certain the Reaper Lady is not Azdaja. That does not seem reasonable. Like Ritra is using the Varshan avatar, but in Final Fantasy XIV, like, dragons can't like actually become like humans. They can like put their consciousness in like this alchemical shell Ritra had made, but it's not like, some other dragons.
Yes. So I mean, even if that lady isn't her, I mean, I don't see why it couldn't be a similar thing where she put her, because she's been stuck there for 1,000 years
I'm
or
sure
something. It could be some vessel or something. I mean, it could be that she found some way to make a vessel. So that also seems like it's also kind of an obvious direction to go with her. So
maybe she's actually the Estinian of the 13th.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't know.
Like,
I feel like finding Azdaja might be towards the end of this story arc.
I don't think we'll be able to predict the direction after the end of this main story quest, but I think we'll have an idea if this is just a prologue into the next expansion, or if this is going to get wrapped up before we head into the next expansion.
So there was an interview that came out, a week or so ago, and I don't have it on hand, but if I remember correctly, Yoshi P basically said that this is going to lead into the next expansion, but there's going to be a big moment where you understand what the next expansion will be.
Yeah.
And it had this feeling of there will be a big shift. I feel like it will involve the Void somehow, because I don't think we're going to wrap the Void up here in these patch quests. That just does not seem reasonable, right?
Yeah, the implication was that there will be some grand event.
Yeah.
That
so I'm expecting in
changes.
6.4 maybe we can actually say something about what's going to happen in the next expansion, and that's usually when we can start to be able to figure it out.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Except for Shadowbringers, because.
Yeah, I saw something about the comment you're talking about. It sounds like there's probably whatever's going on now, we don't have a good idea of what the expansion is going to be, but it's going to be a big thing that will then.
I do think we're going to wrap up this 4 Fiends and Golbez.
Yeah. I think wrapping up that at least the Fiends, the Golbez will probably find out his boss or something. But there's no way we wrap up the entire Void thing this in patch quests.
Golbez seems to be like roughly on the level of maybe the Cloud of Darkness.
Yeah, I think
like Cloud of Darkness was strong, but it wasn't ever like she's not the actual strongest Void Sent. She's just one of the strongest Void Sent. Yeah. So I think Golbez is like on that level.
Yeah.
Speaking of, did you see that the giant red orb that we fight the Cloud of Darkness in is in the background of the dungeon?
Yeah, I feel like that might just be like one of those. There's a bunch of those now in the Void, like these cloudy orbs. But I did notice that it's her arena before you reach her in the World of Darkness raid.
Yeah, I definitely think here we're going to be wrapping up everything that's sort of focused on FF4 before we get to the next expansion.
I think we're wrapping up everything related to dragons as well in time for the next expansion.
That would not be surprised if we have largely wrapped up dragon stuff by the time this is done.
That does seem like one of the big threads it would make sense to kind of resolve before moving on to a new story arc.
And then at that point, the only big dragon thing we'd have left is when's Midgardsormr going to wake back up?
Yeah.
Which he will eventually. That's basically in their back pocket of, wake up Midgardsormr in case of emergency.
I guess going to Meracidia as well, but yeah.
Yeah, but I would not expect. We might end up going to Meracidia. That might be what we do. That might end up going to Meracidia. That's entirely possible. And if we do, there will clearly be more dragon stuff. But this should wrap up all the dragon stuff on the 3 great continents. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It'd wrap up the Midgardsormr spawn stuff. I guess would be the way to put it.
Which honestly, I was honestly not expecting Vritra and Azdaja to be as important to the plot as they are.
Yeah. When that got mentioned in the MSQ in the main story, I was like, oh, that's something they're reminding us of, and we'll hear about it in another expansion or so. So when it came up immediately, that surprised me.
Yeah. It's funny because Vritra and Azdaja has been known about for a long time for people who go into the lore. But I don't think Vritra, either of them ever got mentioned until we actually ran into Vritra in Endwalker. I don't think they were ever mentioned in the game. Unless, I don't know, maybe Tiamat dropped their names at one point. Maybe she did.
I don't think so.
I don't think they were ever mentioned that way, even though we knew who they were because there was stuff in the encyclopedias about them.
Yeah, that's stuff from 1.0. It's just really old.
Mm-hmm. It's surprising the stuff they're bringing together, and I was not expecting them to tie them to the Void, to have Reaper stuff be incredibly important to the main plot. But yeah, if you haven't leveled Reaper, go level Reaper. It won't take you that long to at least get through the story parts because that's just the 70 to 80. Go level Reaper.
It's a really good story, too.
Take a couple days, level Reaper. It won't take you very long to get from 70 to 80. Do your leveling roulettes, do some beast tribes. You can get it done really fast. And it's worth it, and it will provide some context for what's going to happen here. I might start doing the MSQ as a Reaper.
Yeah. I'd apparently not paid enough attention when I leveled them. I didn't realize that only up through 80 actually had story quests, and they didn't actually have a second part this expansion, which I appreciate. I'm glad they're kind of just reducing the amount of story content for those, honestly, because in the past couple expansions, I think generally the second half didn't really justify itself for the most part. So
yeah, there's been a lot of them. I think 10 levels worth of job quests and then just sprinkling in some extra stuff here and there is probably going to be fine going forward.
Yeah.
Alright. Anything else?
We got some new housing items. We're finally going to be able to put up all the scions in our houses.
Oh yeah, the scion portraits. Yeah, I saw those. That's good.
And a hay bed.
Oh, I did not see that.
I thought that was really cute. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the live letter.
I don't know if it was the live letter itself or if it was something else. Apparently, they commented briefly about the Dragoon and Astro, mainly that it was going to not. They weren't doing it now, and I guess they compared it to. I think it was the Ninja changes.
Yeah. So this is worth mentioning. So let me mention this real quick. They did not talk about any job changes in the live letter, all right, and there will not be any job changes listed anywhere until the main patch notes drop when the maintenance happens. But what they are going to do is they're going to start including somewhere, probably linked in the patch notes, an explanation of why they make the changes to jobs that they make.
Oh, interesting.
They have pushed off the Astro and Dragoon changes till 7.0. And we don't know anything about what jobs are getting any changes in this patch. Nothing at all.
I don't mind the Dragoon changes getting pushed off because really, I don't think it needs a rework beyond Dragon Sight needing a change.
Yeah, I think the main issue with Dragoon is, as you guys have mentioned, is just there's nothing else to do with it. So they got to do something in 7.0 because what are they going to do? Add another set of combo enders for you guys? How long can your combos get?
They can add a new. They can make it so that Spine Shatter gives you an eye or something, and there's not a lot to do with it. So
it's like stuff like around the edges, but they've run out of things to do.
Yeah,
I genuinely don't even remember what this Black Mage got in the last expansion.
Black Mage got Paradox. That's the big one.
Oh yeah.
So when the Dragon stuff came up before,
bigger booms.
When the Dragon stuff came up before, I figured it was kind of laying groundwork for the change they wanted to make into 7.0. So I guess they decided it probably wasn't worth changing mid-expansion.
People keep whining at them, so they're just like, we're just going to do it all once. Black Mage got this expansion was it got a big rework to its leveling experience. That's what Black Mage got.
Oh, yeah, I guess that.
Oh, interesting. I remember Black Mage being really awkward because the way you play it changed multiple times. Just like completely changed how you play it.
They shuffled some stuff around in the leveling, and they also made the AoE rotation at lower levels work because it had stopped working at certain level ranges. It just didn't work right. You had to do like dumb things like spam ice 2, and
Yeah.
Oh, they also changed how Blizzard 2 worked, and just stuff. Blizzard 2 is now semi freeze. Which works better for leveling it.
Freeze as well.
It changed freeze. So lots of stuff, but the big in-game thing you got Paradox, which is another big boom.
The Enochian change done in this expansion, or was that done earlier? Cause
that was in Shadowbringers.
It was in Shadowbringers, yeah.
If you mean how you don't have to activate the Enochian anymore, that was in Shadowbringers.
Yeah.
For Dragoon, we got.
Oh, you keep going.
No, go ahead with Black Mage. I'll get back to
it's the thing about Black Mage is kind of probably going to be in the situation soon too, where they're running out of things they can add to it that aren't just shuffling some stuff around and adding another big boom at the end. Because Black Mage, it works really well, but you have a job that works really well and you start adding stuff into it, it stops working as well. They've run into that a couple times.
Yeah.
That's why they did that Samurai change. Even though people hate it, it's like they're running out of stuff to do. So we're gonna see this happening for some more jobs. Especially ones that are just really stuffed with a full rotation, and you can't add anything without taking something out.
Warrior.
They need to cut down on the actions for Dark Knight.
Yeah, Dark Knight has too many actions. Warrior, there's actually, I think, more space they could work with Warrior. They could actually do some stuff to Warrior's basic combo, and I don't think anybody would care. Nobody would be upset if they adjusted how Warrior's combo system worked. I think it's got some more space than some other jobs, although it's going to get there in a couple expansions. But I think the next thing they're going to do with Warrior is adjust the basic combos. Because I don't think anybody is happy with the main combo rotation for Warrior. It's very unsatisfying.
It's the most boring part of the Warrior.
Yeah, it just needs something else, and I don't know what, but that's I think what they're going to do next. Paladin is pretty good, except for it doesn't do enough damage. Dark Knight is too busy. Gunbreaker is janky. There's just lots of stuff, and this is because we're so far into this game that just the jobs have accumulated so much stuff that they just need refreshes. So we'll probably see that going forward for jobs where it's really noticeable and jobs where there's just a lot of complaints about it. The thing about Astro is it has too many actions, just like Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Dragoon.
That's
Dragoon,
why
I like.
It's in the list.
Yeah, I like how Dragoon plays now, but yeah, there's not a lot to do. This expansion, we basically got a couple of animation updates. We got like one new button at the end, and the rest is quality of life stuff. I think for Dragoon, obviously the jumps are kind of a core part of the identity, kind of like that has to stay in some capacity. I think at a basic level, the static combos is kind of what people like about it. At least what I like about Dragoon. So I think that is going to stay in some capacity, but they might change something about how that works. Stuff they start adding on to it, like in Heavens, where they start adding in the Blood of the Dragon, Life of the Dragon, that's stuff where I'd expect them to kind of rework. Because that's kind of stuff that's been piling on.
I think that Blood of the Dragon and Life of the Dragon are going to get merged into a single thing.
Yeah, I think that gets substantially changed and reworked to how it works to give them more room to adjust. I think the eye stuff could probably stay in some capacity. They might change how that works. But I think the current stuff, they added in Heavensward and they reworked how stuff made or how stuff fit together after that. Because everything got kind of changed. There's a big shift in design philosophy after Heavensward and how people felt about stuff there. So I feel like everything that's kind of been going on since then kind of gets adjusted in some way, because that's not really a core part, and it's not really what you play Dragoon for.
That reminds me. There's one more thing we need to mention that's actually coming this patch. Not stuff for the future like we've been going on about. They are adjusting critical hit and direct hit.
Oh yeah.
So, for those who are unclear on why this is an issue, critical hit, the stat, affects both critical hit rate and critical damage. Direct hit, the stat, affects only direct hit rate. Alright, so that makes crit a really good stat.
It's
just in general, because it affects both your rate and your damage in one stat, so it's basically the best stat in the game in terms of stacking.
Yeah, it's the best materia you put into the slot, period.
But here's the problem that they've been running into, and has been causing complaints. Several jobs, warrior, machinist, samurai, a couple others, have attacks that are guaranteed to do a critical direct hit. Now, for those attacks, the critical hit stat loses one aspect, the rate aspect, but it still affects the damage. So that's okay. It makes buffs that affect critical rate not useful for those jobs. Like, for example, the Dragoon buff, I forgot the name. The Dragoon
Battle
buff that
Litany.
buffs critical hit rate, Battle Litany, does not affect anything for any attacks that do critical direct hits. Like, for example, inner release attacks on warrior. Additionally, but that meant that those jobs can still gain benefit from critical hit materia, because it increases the critical damage. On the other hand, direct hit buffs, while they also do not affect those attacks at all, direct hit materia does not either, because it's only a rate increase. So what that meant was direct hit materia and the direct hit stat is a largely dead stat for some jobs. Alright, it's really good, for example, on 3 of the tanks, but not good on warrior. It's really good on bard and dancer, not as good on machinist. So what they're doing is they're going to make it so buffs that increase critical hit rate or direct hit rate will also increase critical hit and direct hit damage only for attacks that are guaranteed to critical direct hit, not for regular attacks. And direct hit materia will increase direct hit damage only for attacks that are guaranteed to do a direct hit.
Okay.
This is basically something players have been asking for a while, right? Because because as things stood, there were more and more jobs whose biggest hits were not affected by the biggest raid buffs available, and it generally just felt really bad. So that's a big thing coming this patch.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's especially if you play warrior, machinist, samurai, and does anybody else have a guaranteed critical direct hit?
Dragoon.
What's your guaranteed critical direct hit?
I forget what the name of the skill
Oh no,
was.
you have the guaranteed critical from Life Surge.
Yeah.
So it'll affect that. So you'll get a little more damage on Life Surge. Yay. Get used to Life Surge while you have it, because I don't think you're going to have it after 7.0.
Probably not.
that's a skill that's really high on the chopping block for Dragoon.
Yeah, and I am okay with that. I'm okay.
I don't think anybody will miss Life Surge.
Yeah,
right? Even the people who are really upset about Chitin, I don't think they're going to miss Life Surge.
Yeah,
it's just Life Surge.
It was nice to have good charges for that. For that. I think we got charged for that. Yeah. But yeah, it's basically you have the one attack you really want to use it on, and you have like one other attack that if you aren't going to if you're going to lose a charge, you use it on. But it's you basically only use it on your heaviest attack, so it's kind of just it's a one. Yeah.
It's literally the exact reason they got rid of Chitin. So anyway, have fun with that for the next few patches, and then you'll almost certainly lose it. But I expect a lot of changes to critical and direct hit stuff in 7.0. So this change now may not carry over because they might be changing stuff. That's just a expectation I have.
That wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
Alright. I think that is everything. Or at least everything we need to talk about.
Yeah, think so.
Alright.
And with that, we're signing off for the month. Next month we will actually have the patch out and we get to talk about everything we've been speculating on. So, before we sign off, you can find Clear Italian at Clear Italian on Twitter, Doritoka at Satoshi Miwa on Twitter, Asari Alimuli at Asari Alimuli on Twitter, and me, Sora Parianis, at Feo Ultima on Twitter. This has been Words of Azem. We'll see you next month. And stand tall, our friends. Our journey never ends.
Alright, goodbye.
Bye.
Take care.